have the link, but I didn't get a push notification. And we didn't get anything.
She got that action just like I like it. So smooth like the first time I felt it. Pearls all down her neck, so dark, so smooth, yeah, she got me erect. She gave me magic in my fingertips, as my teeth are tugging on her lips. When I tap that bottom, she like it. So smooth like the first time I felt it. Baby, I don't wanna cause a scene, but I love the way I make you scream. We can float together on a dream, to the rhythm of our make-believe, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Alright, when you're in my hands, I call you mine. I just got to have you all the time. Wind you up like I got you feeling right. I've been waiting for you all my life. If I turn it on, it might get loud. Set the rhythm, we can work it out. I like the way that we fit together, so smooth like the first time I felt her. Baby, I don't wanna cause a scene, but I love the way I make you scream. We can float together on a dream, to the rhythm of our make-believe, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Alright, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Alright, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. To the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. To the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. She got that action just like I like it. So smooth like the first time I felt it. Pearls all down her neck, so dark, so smooth, yeah, she got me erect. She gave me magic in my fingertips, as my teeth are tugging on her lips. When I tap that bottom, she like it. So smooth like the first time I felt it. Baby, I don't wanna cause a scene, but I love the way I make you scream. We can float together on a dream, to the rhythm of our make-believe, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Alright, when you're in my hands, I call you mine. I just got to have you all the time. Wind you up like I got you feeling right. I've been waiting for you all my life. If I turn it on, it might get loud. Set the rhythm, we can work it out. I like the way that we fit together, so smooth like the first time I felt her. Baby, I don't wanna cause a scene, but I love the way I make you scream. We can float together on a dream, to the rhythm of our make-believe, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Alright, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Alright, to the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. To the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. To the rhythm of our make-believe, yeah. Oh. rock I rock, yeah. So smooth like the first time I felt it. Pearls all down her neck, so dark, so smooth, yeah, she got me wrecked. She gave me magic in my fingertips, as my teeth are tugging on her lips. When I tapped that bottom, she liked it. So smooth like the first time I felt it. Baby, I don't wanna cause a scene, but I love the way I make you scream. We can float together on a dream, to the rhythm of a make-believe, to the rhythm of a make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of a make-believe, yeah. Alright, when you're in my hands, I call you mine. I just got to have you all the time. Wind you up like I got you feeling right. I've been waiting for you all my life. If I turn it on, it might get loud. Set the rhythm, we can work it out. I like the way that we fit together, so smooth like the first time I felt her. Baby, I don't wanna cause a scene, but I love the way I make you scream. We can float together on a dream, to the rhythm of a make-believe, to the rhythm of a make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of a make-believe, yeah. Alright, to the rhythm of a make-believe, yeah. Oh, to the rhythm of a make-believe, yeah. Alright, to the rhythm of a
Is it on mute
make-believe,
now?
yeah.
Do this so they can hear what we're saying now.
All of it.
They hear all of this.
All of it.
Like, so we could say like terrible, horrible things and they'd hear it.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't know that they'd hear it because we're like, oh, we're not on screen yet.
Right.
But
But we are now.
Well, we are now.
Yeah.
Hey!
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Band Philosophy. Thank you guys for joining us and being here. If you like the stuff that we're doing, be sure to subscribe. Click the little like button, the little bell thing, so you guys will know when we're doing this and whenever it goes live. Today's topic is going to be success, which I thought was a pretty cool topic. But before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and see what we're up to. So you want to kick that off, Kyle?
Yeah. So, really, right before I came here, I was tracking for the next cover that we're doing for Patreon, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Well, actually, you did kind of hear it.
I heard the
I
prelim.
gave you like the prelim stuff.
Yeah.
But I went and did a little more stuff since then. Not much.
Did you ever work on a solo thingy?
I didn't work on a solo for it, but I don't think it needs it.
There's a section that's like about this long.
It is. It's very small, and we can totally.
That's what she said.
So yeah, I've been working on that this week. That's what's up with me.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about it.
Right.
Just I can't wait for everyone to hear it. I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's good. It's exciting. I can't wait to get to work on it myself. For me, I wrote a whole blog about the seasonal affective disorders and how you get
sad.
Yeah, it's called SAD.
And it makes you sad.
And it makes you sad.
And that's sad.
Yeah, it's weird because it happens every year. It's I don't know. As soon as the seasons start changing, you start feeling all down or feeling weird. Some people say it's because you stress of the holidays or this, that, and the other. But I don't know if it's that. I'm not really stressed about the holidays.
I think it's I think it's a big chimera monster.
It's weird.
Because I think you're a little stressed about the holidays, but not much.
Yeah.
So you go I'm not stressed. But you're also getting a little less vitamin A.
Yeah.
And
I did up my vitamin D intake.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then but then it's summertime. You're oh, it's not. I'm gonna go for a walk in the park. I'm just gonna go. And then when it's really cold, you're I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I think you just generally it's you're getting less sun and you're a little less active and there's a little more stuff going on. You're probably eating I don't know about you, but I ate a bunch of candy at
oh no, I'm not doing
at
that.
after Halloween.
I'll get this big if
I
eat one piece of candy and I'll blow up.
Well, someone was saying why there's flu season, and it's it starts at 4th of July. It's 'cause you're out partying and drinking, and then you just kind of keep going through this whole thing of and then you just have Halloween, and then there's Thanksgiving, and then there's Christmas, and you're eating all these sweets, and not taking care of yourself, and then you get sick.
But it's weird. I don't know if it's actually a diagnosable thing. I have no idea. I just know that I've had something that happens like that every year. I feel like a lot of people do. It seems to be pretty common. People will be like, yeah, it's that season. You get kind of like down or whatever. I used to call it the winter depression. But I've been fighting that stuff off. So I've been trying to kick it. Up my vitamin intake, the vitamin D, and started taking some like vitamin C and stuff. Anyway, that, and I've been finishing up all the masters for the hard copy CD release, which I tried to do today until I could listen to it. And my CD burner doesn't work because, you know, computers these days don't come with actual disk drives. And I haven't used my CD burner in 3 years. So, you know, it's a whole thing.
Won't read that old school tech.
Right. Aaron says that SAD is diagnosable. So that's a whole thing.
SAD is diagnosable.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There you go. It's a thing. So we're going to go ahead and get into the topic, though, which is success. And if you guys have any kind of input or questions or ideas or anything, be sure to leave them there in the live chat. We've got the window pulled up here, so we'll see it as soon as you guys put it in, so we'll be part of the conversation. But starting off with it, like, what is success to us? Like, what is it to you, man?
To me, success is it's a line. It's like a linear thing to me. And I feel like it's not just like point A and point B, it's the line in between it. So, yeah, I always thought of it as like, well, it's like, you know, I don't have something and I want something and now I have something. But the success is not having something, it's what you did to get there.
Right.
And that's what it means to me, is it's more of like you make a decision to... It's like you make a decision to be successful. It's not like you really have success. Like, it's almost like as soon as you decide to be successful, then you are, because you're starting it. Like, you're getting there. You're making attempts. Because I don't...
Right.
To me, like, you're going to fail at stuff, but I don't think that failure is the opposite of success. I think it's like that's just where you're starting out. Because you learn something new, and it's like, you know, if I say, like, if you judge success on whether you can do something in the moment, I feel like you're setting yourself up to not be successful, at least to me.
Right.
Because it's like how much time, I was going to talk about this later, but like how many things in your life do you only get one shot at? Like, if you fail, you try again. You will be successful if you keep doing it. And like that's kind of like how I view it. Is it's more of like it's a state of mind.
Right.
You know?
Well, you're wrong.
Yeah, well, you're wrong. Okay.
So you're wrong.
Okay, yeah.
So, no, like, yeah, because success is something weird that, like, our society puts, like, this pressure of, like, these ideas of what it takes to be successful, whether that be, like, career-wise or, you know, family, friends-wise. It's really strange, like, because to me, like, I can be perfectly, I feel successful. I might not be in a band that's, like, got a record label, we go on and see millions of people all the time, but, like, to me, my level of success was kind of set by my expectations from childhood. You know, so it's like, I feel successful because I was always told I was never going to be able to do music for a living, for instance.
Yeah, a lot of people will tell you that. They'll be like, oh, that's, like, you can't do that for a job.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, but I see that people do it for a job.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, what are they doing?
Yeah, and but what's weird is, like, it kind of, like, there's, like, this weird battle that happens. Because there's, like, the idea that I feel successful because I've been able to do that, but there's still that thought that happens within myself that says, no, you're not successful because you're not doing A, B, and C. If you look at it, and I think that's probably a thing by comparison. So you compare yourself to others and you're going, oh man, I'm not successful because I'm not doing these. I'm not doing these big ticketed events. I'm not doing these.
Yeah, like you're not someone else.
Yeah. I don't have big management or big booking to help along. You know, it's like it's us. You know, so I started to question those kinds of things. But I think it's, to me, again, it's like I think it's that thing that's set by, like, our expectations that probably start in our childhood about, like, what success means to us in our lives, whether that be whatever kind of category that is.
I found a quote today. It said, "The thermometer of success is merely the jealousy of malcontent."
Right.
And Salvador Dali said that. But, like, I think, like, that to me that was like deep because it means like it's like, are you successful? Yes. Well, how successful are you? And be like, and the gauge is like, you know, being grumpy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And like, it's funny because like I looked at the American Heritage Dictionary. Says that success is the achievement of something desired, planned, or attempted.
Let's break that down.
Yeah.
So we can all understand it here.
Well, it's like you have a want or a desire or a plan, and you make an attempt at it, and you achieve you get what you wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's basically like that's success is getting what you want.
Right. Like you had an idea of what you're gonna do, you got it.
You went and did it, and then you got it.
Right.
And so gauging that on someone else's expectations, like that's not what success means. Success means you have to think of it, and you have to try it and do it.
Right.
And I know with me, with music, is none of my goals was like to do anything other than I just want to play music. And I want that to be my job. But I never had like a dollar amount. You know what I mean? Or I never had like, you know, how many cities do I want to play in? Or like whatever it was. I was like, that's just what I want to quit waiting tables and I want to be a musician.
Right.
And so like by definition, like it's a success because like that's what I did. Like I had the idea, went and tried it and did it. And so to look back and go like, oh, I wasn't very successful, be like, you were like that, because that's exactly what you wanted. It's like maybe you're just not setting enough goals, you know, or you're not dreaming enough and saying like, well, I want to go do this and this is how
Setting
I'm
enough
gonna do
goals,
it.
like you mean like diversifying and having more things that you're wanting to do, or?
Well, I think like if, I guess hypothetically, I'm saying if I looked back and said, well, I was a musician, but I wasn't successful. But when my goal was, I just want to play music. I didn't have like but I have to play in Russia. You know what I mean? Or I have to play this gig or whatever it is. Like that was never really in my head, at least starting out.
So,
you know what I mean?
I think, well, it's weird. I mean, I think those kinds of things, like trying to plan for, like, what do I want to do with my life? Like, it's hard to set those high bars because we don't want to fail.
Yeah.
So, like, if we're like, oh, I want to be a musician that, you know, tours, all different countries and sells billions of records and has gold records and platinum and this, that, and the other, that can be easy to fail. So, like, I think maybe there's, like, a part of us that kind of set those bars low. But then again, whenever it comes to success...
But, like, who's saying it's low?
Right. That's
You
what I'm
know
saying.
what I
Like,
mean?
when
Like,
it comes
yeah,
to
like-
success, like, what does it mean? Like, cause that's all in, like, your happiness levels and this, that, and the other. It could be. You know, it could not be. But from what my brain's telling me, it's like, if you succeed, you're happy, right? But also, like, when you set these levels of something, like, what do you need to get you happy? I think different people require different things, is where I'm trying to get to. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why, you know, like you or I, like we've set those things when we were younger, like here's what we want to do and here's where we could say we have succeeded. Mm-hmm. But where others might have to set those higher bars because that is what within themselves will make them happy. If they only got here, they might not be as content or happy with.
Yeah, because that wasn't their original, you know, desire or plan.
Right.
To try to achieve, you know. And, you know, I like thinking back, I'll think of like, well, you know, can I say that I'm a successful musician? You know?
No.
And,
no, you can't.
Well, the thing is, you know, like when you're trying to write an EPK, you know what I mean? Like you're like, yeah, you have to write down your successes. Right. That's a big, like, that's the thing. Agents will tell you that. Venue owners will tell you that. You know, if you like go and pick someone's brain and be like, how am I going to get booked here? Or like they say, well, you got to write down like the successes you've had, right? You know. And so I remember like we'd get little milestones, be like, oh, we opened for this band, so I'm gonna put it's like what you put into your EPK to convince someone to hire you,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
And
If none of you guys know what that is, whenever you're a performer or something, an EPK is an electronic press kit. So you have to put together like he's talking about, like different things.
You have to brag about yourself.
You have to kind of brag about yourself and be like, we were mentioned in this article, and then we played these shows with these people, and here's some songs and videos.
Yeah, you put little like anytime someone writes anything nice about you, you copy and paste that and you put that in there.
And you have to feel weird by keeping up with all those things. Like, oh, these people said nice stuff about me. I'm gonna put that over here.
Yeah, and be like, and there's like tick marks in society, especially with musicians. It's like, I've gotten this many streams on Spotify, so I'm gonna write that down. And I've toured in 96 cities, so I'm gonna write that down.
By the way, if you're watching this, go follow us on Spotify. Yeah, do it.
It helps a lot.
Do it.
It does. It really does.
We don't have that big of numbers over there right now. We're trying to figure out ways of getting those numbers up, but blah blah blah. Do it.
But yeah. So yeah, there's little. It's like your resume, or your immediate resume, like here.
Right.
And, I go back and I look at, it's funny because it's like probably no one watching is ever going to see our EPK. It's always just people you're working with that see it. But I go like, that looks pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, I'd hire this band for sure. Like, oh, you did that? And you opened for who? And how many cities have you been in? And, like...
Well, it reads cool.
It reads cool. And you gotta go like, if I read that, I would say, like, that's a successful musician.
But I think that kind of comes into that whole idea of, what was it called? Where it's like it's like disassociation or something. What is that called? Not disassociation, but we talked about it once before.
You can call it imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Because you don't think, like,
that's what
you've just been a dude.
Yeah.
But you go along and be like, well, I did this, and oh, I finally achieved that little goal. And a lot of times it's like, they're just little micro goals of like, I want to open for that band, or I want to go out for 2 weeks, and I want to hit 10 cities in that time, or whatever it is.
Right.
And you lose track of that number. Because I remember, like, every time we do an album, we kind of go back to the EPK. And I remember writing down, like, I was like, how many cities have we played? And that might be a good thing to put on there. Be like, well, this has been our radius. And it was, like, around 100 cities. I think it's, like, 97 cities or something.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, oh, we've played in, like, 14 cities or whatever, because, like, the last time you thought about it, you're like, well, that's not worth writing down, So I think, a lot of times it's like you're just you in your own head. So if you do have some successes or you checked off some of those boxes of like what you set out to do and you did them, you just keep going.
Yeah.
So you're always that novice that's like, I'm just going along and I'm trying real hard and I'm doing my best.
Right. So it's like we're talking about, like, so no matter what kind of success you have or that you may have,
you're never really probably going to feel it.
You're not going to feel it, but I think it's important that we remind ourselves to, like, feel it, because we were just talking about, like, when you set these goals of just being a musician or being a lawyer or being a therapist or being whatever it may be, like once you get there, like, sit back in it. I think it's important to, like, let that positivity stuff flow in.
Otherwise, why are you doing it if you're not going to enjoy it?
Yeah. And I did hear about this thing, what's it called? The level 10 life, right? I think it's some like...
You told me, I was like, oh man, you got into some weird, like, clickbait, modern cult thing. Like.
No, well, I found it interesting because they broke it down to where you can kind of... figure out, like, where you are successfully wise in your life, if that's even proper language. But they break it down to where it's like you kind of grade yourself on different aspects in your life. And those aspects are like friendship, intellectual life, adventures, skills, health and fitness, environment, spiritual, career, creative life, and love relationships. So, like, you have all these different aspects to your life that you're able to kind of better understand yourself by breaking them down into the scores and being like, what do I need to work on to be, like, at this peak point of success? Because it's not just about, did I succeed at your job? Did you succeed as a parent? Did you succeed as a friend? Are you successful in your love relationships? Are you successful with taking care of your body and your health? And, like, how you would rate yourself. I thought that was really interesting to where, like, then you can kind of find new focus.
Well, I know talking about how you get something outside of yourself when you're meditating, because it'll force you to ask yourself questions that you didn't think to ask. And I think like having that in your life is good, because you can sit there and be like, I'm gonna go work on myself, and then it's just whatever you come up with to work on yourself, and that might not be what you need to work on,
Right.
So yeah, having something laid out where it's like, hey, check this, and hey, check this, and hey, you forgot to check this, did you know to check this? Like, that's super important. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, because again, it's not just determined by what you've done. Aaron says skills, like bow staff skills. Yes, like bow staff skills.
Hey, do you want to be a successful bow staff artist?
You got to be successful at something. You got to pick it. You got to figure out what that is. And by the way, for you guys in the comments there, like, let us know what success means to you, or if you have any like successes that you want to share. We would love to discuss it.
Yeah, like when's the time where you felt successful?
Never.
You've never, never.
No, I've had moments, and like as I've gotten older, where I went. It's like I had a moment, and this sounds kind of silly, because this is more along the lines of like materialistic success, which I don't think is really a thing, because I never really wanted for much. I don't need a lot of things. I'm a low spender kind of guy. Like I got a '95 tour van. You know what I mean? I'm cool with that. But whenever I was asked this year, like, what do you want for Christmas? Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to figure out like what that would be. Mm-hmm. And then for a moment, I'm like, nothing.
Oh, did I make it? I don't need anything.
Yeah, I need nothing. But then again, with like when you're trying to like do the whole line, like relationships, friendships, and this and the other. I mean, I remember just feeling success, like feeling success, like watching your kid do like some cool thing, and you're like, wow, look how great they're doing. Look how happy they are. You feel successful as a parent doing that. Or I don't know, you feel success, little small ventures, like you see this big hill you're gonna have to climb, you're like, oh shit. I gotta climb up this huge hill here in a second, man, that's gonna like wear me out. But then you get up there and you're like, success. I did it. Yeah, my legs might be a little sore tomorrow, but I think I'm all right.
Yeah.
There's all those mini ones, and like we were talking about before, I think it's important because it's hard, because living life is hard. Like just existence is hard. No matter what you are, what you do, how much money you have, what your position is in this world, like it's hard. So it's important for us to remind ourselves to pay attention to these little successes, and not just look at the big one and be like, not until I get there, but like be able to appreciate the little steps along the way. Like you were talking about earlier, it's not really the end; it's more about the venture and the journey. I think that could be summed up into paying attention to those little small wins.
Yeah, it's like you're on this trajectory. It's just like you're on this spaceship, man. You're just going along, and it's about the ride. That sounds like the most hippie thing I've probably ever said.
Becca says here that she feels successful when my kid is kind.
Aww.
That's a whole thing, man. Like
that does feel good, though.
Whenever you see your kids like doing something, maybe even just being a nice person, you're like, I did it. You know what I mean? Like, because there's so many like, I don't know.
Well, you can see a lot of real shitty kids around there.
I've met a lot of rotten kids, man. Met a lot of rotten ones.
And he went, I don't want my kid to be like that.
Yeah.
So when they're not, it's a success. Because you planned it.
Right. Rachel here, she says that I don't want to be successful, I want to be happy. And I get that, and I think that's possible, like maybe the way you view the word success, because to me, like happiness and achieving that is success. I think finding that happiness is a very important part of being successful.
Yeah, I think like I don't want to say that they're synonymous, because I know, and especially because like it means different things for different people. But
absolutely.
But for me, like if I go, I'm gonna try to get what I want.
Yeah.
And not in a materialistic way, and not in a, asshole goal driven. I'm gonna do this and check off all this and that kind of way, but just like, hey, like I feel like this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that like, you know, chasing happiness and chasing success, I think if they're not the same thing, you end up doing the same thing, you know, to do it. So, but like I feel that where it's like, yeah, it's like a lot of times you can view the word success in this weird way. Yeah. Because even in the dictionary,
well, it's weird, but like it can be negative because of like the societally it's driven to be like success means this.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't match this,
then it's not
then
success.
it's not success. But we're here to say
it's bullshit.
It's bullshit. You can make your own version of success, like whatever that takes. Like whether that be like I want to make sure I meditate every day and eat vegetables.
Yeah,
your success. There you go.
Yeah,
like set your own. Like you don't have to fit this like mold of like, gotta have 6 kids, a white picket fence, and a brand new Mercedes Benz.
Yeah,
and if I don't have that, I'm nothing.
Yeah, and it's like if that's not you.
Yeah.
Even if you get those things,
yeah,
that's not a success.
Right. I mean, I look at like, it's like that whole thing that I was talking about earlier. That whole like, you break it down into these whole things because you can see like some dude who was successful financially. He is not. Now I'm not saying he. I'm using this fictional character. I don't know. Okay.
The real rich guy's doing all right.
Yeah.
Right. But this fake guy.
This fake guy. But most of the time, I think it's kind of stereotypical. You'll see that like they're not very successful with their love relationships, or very successful with their friendships, or very successful with other aspects of their life because they focus so much on that, and that goal is so high. It takes so much attention away from everything else because that's all that they can do. Now, I mean, even like you've seen famous people or actors or musicians or whatnot, they get to a point and they have like all this money, fans, followers. And you can see that they're not happy. Mm-hmm. Like we've seen like suicides and stuff. You see like stuff like Robin Williams, which was an awesome dude. From what I know, I don't know the guy personally, but he was awesome at his art. He seemed very relatable.
It's like interviews with people that know him, they also like, no, he was great. Yeah.
But he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
So even though he had those points of success, there's there's still like this like limit to that. And to me, I find it important to make sure that we focus on those like more spiritual relationship successes.
Well, I think too, like that's the problem is it's like success is about you.
Yeah.
It's not about anybody else.
Right.
So as soon as someone else says something, like it's not even worth listening to.
Yeah.
Because by definition, it has to be something that you thought up. It can't be like someone else being like, oh, well, they're not successful because they don't do this. Be like, well, you're not in their head, so you don't get to decide.
Right.
Yeah,
it's not a thing. Yeah, you create your own version of that.
Yeah.
Like now, and it's not saying you have to even go off of like what you have previously. You can make your own new goals and your own new versions. That's what's so beautiful about the world here.
But I think, I'm sure there are people like this, and I know this because I was one of those people. Where it's like to be successful, you have to be someone else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I want to do those things and have those things, whatever it is. And it's like, it doesn't work. Or maybe it does work because obviously there's tribute bands.
Right.
Where and they're really good and they sound just like who they're emulating.
Right.
But like to me, especially musically, that's the hardest thing to do. Like I can do several hard things with music, but like to me that's the hardest. Be like, I'm going to play guitar just like that guy, or I'm going to sing just like that guy, and where you're like, what's the word I'm looking for? An impressionist.
Right.
Like people that can do impressions. To me, I go like, that's insane. You're insanely talented because I'm not very good at it, and.
Oh, I see a comment here that says, but there is a difference between happiness and clinical depression. Yeah, so quick disclaimer, I'm not like trying to say that's not a thing. It was more of like to kind of drive a point because their clinical depression is a thing. And like no matter like where you've gotten, I mean, there's like chemicals and stuff that are going off in your brain causing you to feel certain ways and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that. For sure.
I was thinking too of again, of like, there's this pressure. And like, I've totally felt it. I totally get it. I'm not just being like, no, you need to just shut up and deal with it and not be that way. Because I understand. But I think too is like I said before, if I said, hey, like, you got to shoot this basketball into that hoop. And when you do, you're successful. And that's what we agree on, right?
Right.
And so if I only give you one shot,
You only get one
you probably like you might not be successful. If that's the definition of success, is like you have to put this ball into that basket, you know.
Right.
But normally in real life, if you want to put a basketball in a basket, you go out and practice and you do it. You know what I mean? It might take you 100 times, but you're probably going to do it if you try.
Yeah.
And most of life is like that. But we tell ourselves like, oh man, I gotta do it like this, and I gotta do it by this time, and like you set like unrealistic goals, I think is what it is, and you don't like give yourself the time, or you don't give yourself the path to get there. You're just like, well, I'm just gonna go try it once, see what happens, not prepare myself at all. You know what I mean? And then you go, well, why am I not successful? And be like, well, you didn't really try. Or you didn't try enough times, because it's gonna, like, how many times did you have to ride a bike before you could really ride a bike?
Once.
You know what I mean? Once. Like, how many times?
One time.
Like, how many times, like, can you hit a nail and drive it into a board? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's some guys that just go BAM!
Once.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, but I bet you that guy's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
Well, anything takes practice, you know.
Yeah.
Anything takes practice and takes planning, no matter what that is. No matter if that's career, relationship, love relationships, friendships, health. You know, health, especially, man. I've been dealing with a lot of that lately, like trying to adjust, like what I'm doing, how I'm eating. We've kind of gone on and off this kind of stuff before, like together, like when we were on the road. But personally, with a lot of that stuff, it's like it's going to take trial and error. You know, like I might not be successful now, but I'm successful in a way that like I'm doing it.
yeah.
You know, I might not be to my set goal, but I'm doing it.
And are you more successful than you were yesterday?
Yeah.
Then like,
You know?
then that is success.
Right.
You know?
Right, exactly.
Just because you're
It's
not dead.
Yeah.
You know, because that's another thing too. Like, a lot of people say like, oh, I did this for 30 years and I was very successful.
Yeah.
And that's like a thing that how people say. And it's like, you can only be successful, like, you have to be dead or you have to quit.
Yeah.
And then you can judge your success, like how successful were you because you stopped. And at the same time, I think there's something to that where it's like, no, you're just always going. It's not like a peak you reach where
Right.
you're like, and now I'm in the land of success.
In the land
You
of
know what I
success,
mean? It's
yeah.
like, no, success is up there and I'll never get there.
Yeah.
And then it'll be here when I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's like a never-ending escalator or a revolving door, or like whatever you want to call it. Like, it's infinite. It stops when you decide it stops.
Right.
You know?
It's such a weird thing, man. And you know, like honestly, before we started doing like a little bit of like reading up on this stuff today to try to prepare for like the topic, like I'd never really broken it down like that. You know what I mean? Like actually like breaking it down to where it's like it's not just the end goals, it's all the little stuff in between, you know? It's not just like the outside expectations of society. It's what we set for ourselves and what we find, you know, comforting and okay, you know, to achieve. It's bizarre, like the way the world has looked at it. Because like as I was raised, I was thinking like, if you're successful, you've got lots of money, you live in a big house, you've got a nice car.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that. It's like we were saying earlier. It's like what you set for yourself.
But also, I mean, like, it could be that.
It could be that.
But what is your definition of lots of money? And what is
Yeah.
your definition of a big house? And what is
Right.
your definition of a nice car?
Right.
Because I go, like, I have lots of money and I have a great house and a nice car.
Right.
But, like, it's nowhere near, like, what that guy has.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's big enough for me.
Yeah.
And, like... Again, like if you're trying to be someone else, I think that's the hardest thing you can try to do. And some people do it and they can do it really well. But
Right.
like I don't want to and I can't.
Yeah.
And I can't and I don't want to. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it is weird. It's like a fun story.
Oh, look at this guy.
We went and jammed. With a friend for his birthday last week, and at the end there was a musician that got up.
There's a bug.
It's like a little stink bug.
I don't know. Can I see him?
There you go.
He snuck in here.
But there was a guy that got up to play with us, and me and Kyle was on guitar. I had this like little drum kit, and our friend Chaco was on bass, and Forrest was playing guitar. And this other guy got up, and his idea of successfully playing music was to play things like the way the song goes.
Yeah, very much like.
And that's cool. It's cool.
Like, yeah, it was like you could tell in him, he's like, I'm going to learn this song and I'm going to take it and I'm going to play it note for note.
Right.
And
well, he literally like looked at me and did this.
You got the mean mug of like, that's not how it goes, man.
Like, he's like, watch me, and I'm like, but see, my point, my success playing music is like creating something new and different. So like, I was like, want to do this like cool little thing that's like bizarre.
You have a silent argument about what success is.
Yeah.
And like, and you probably do that more often than not in life.
Yeah.
Of like, where you go, oh, like I kind of butted heads with this guy a little bit, or oh, like something was a little weird, and it's because like you're both doing the same thing, but you have a different idea of it, and a lot of times it doesn't really matter, and you end up with a funny little story.
Right.
But like, that's funny to think about. That like, oh yeah, like, what is your vision of success in this moment, and then what about the person next to you?
Yeah.
And you're trying to live in harmony with that person.
Right. That's why I keep telling Kyle he needs to work harder.
And I'll be like, man, I'm good.
He's not meeting my level
I'll be
yet.
like, man, I'm good.
Yeah.
Man.
He's not meeting it. Let's see here. Rebecca says, it seems cliche, but in my mind, a huge part of achieving success is showing up. We're all working on achieving something. Yep.
I saw a quote. Woody Allen said 80% of success is just showing up.
Yeah.
And
that's a thing.
yeah, man, I think like probably more than that. Like if like this kind of whole like road we've been going down is like, are you going to decide to be successful? Be like, do you want to do that? Well, then go try.
Then go do it.
Then just go try.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, because it's not always easy to just be there. Sometimes it's hard to just show up.
Well, and I think too, like, if you want to look at it like a math problem, you think of like what is the percentage of success, and it's like, and you got a dot and a line and then another dot, and be like, and then what we think of success is like just that dot, when it's like that's not 20% of it.
Right.
That's like 1% of it is actually getting it.
Getting it, planning out the path to get there.
Yeah.
The little steps
all
in
that stuff
between.
before the dot even starts.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like getting shit.
Yeah.
Is such a small part of success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get. You get the shit. Don't take the shit.
Don't take no shit.
Don't take the shit. That's not success. I mean, sometimes you come out and you're like, success.
Yeah.
After you've taken shit. Anyway. But anyway, I thought that was a really cool topic, man. Super cool for you guys like joining in and like kind of chiming in and like on what your ideas of that are, because it is so different for everybody. By
definition, it is.
By
definition, it's different for everybody.
It really is. But we would like to take a second to remind you guys that we still got merch all in stock over there on storefrontier.com/Rocham. See, I went to slash that time.
It is.
See that?
Thanks, Steve, for helping us out with that.
Steve, yeah. So they got all the colors, all the different designs that they have in that we can't keep in stock, man. There's just so many over there. And they've got V-necks, hoodies, zip-ups, pullovers, long sleeves, all kinds of cool stuff. Go check this out.
Short sleeves.
All the
shorts
things.
with no sleeves at all.
Right.
That's it. Only in the summer.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any tank tops available now, but they will be once it warms up.
Laura Singleton says, what, VOA? Is that FYI?
It looks like FY, but it could be FYL.
L. Maybe
expand a little bit.
Expand.
Let us know what's going on.
What's that?
But we'd love to talk to you.
What's that? But yeah, so we've got what we were talking about before. We've got the hard copies going in to be ordered this weekend. Are we able to do like maybe a work day on like Sunday and get all that submitted in together?
We'll get it. Before the week starts, we'll get some together.
Get it in and get it submitted. That way we can have dates for everybody and all that stuff. I did see we finally got a return date because we had to cancel since you were sick.
Yes.
True?
Yes. We will be back at Club 134, and that date will officially announce next week.
Officially, we can't tell you now. It's on.
Well,
my
I mean,
calendar.
I can tell you now.
It's on my calendar.
I just gotta go look.
Yeah.
But we haven't officially announced. But we're gonna do it right now.
Yeah, it's like the weekend before Montrose, right?
Yeah. That's gonna be on the 22nd of January is the rescheduled date.
Kyle says, Kyle's idea of success is to make sure people don't know our show dates until maybe like a week before.
No.
He's like, we'll let people know.
2 weeks before.
Maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, they don't need to know.
There's so many distractions today. How long are you gonna be thinking about that show?
Oh my goodness. But yeah, also, we'd like to give a shout out to our guys over there on Patreon, guys and gals on Patreon. You guys are the reason we're able to do this stuff. By the way, we have a new microphone. Hopefully the audio is good for this one. We've noticed some problems before in the past ones we've been doing since we got started back, and we wanted to try to make it better. And you guys are the reason why we're able to do said upgrade to make it better.
Yeah.
So check out the little tiers there. See if you find anything interesting. Go over there.
It's on my shoulder.
Yeah, it's over there. Go over to patreon.com/Rochambeau and check it out. There's something in there for everybody. We do all these cover videos every month. We were talking about that earlier. We're in the process of working on the brand new one right now. And that
I'm so pumped about it.
That one's going to be released probably the next couple weeks. So super pumped. But what's our wrap up, Kyle? What did we gain from this conversation, man?
I think that if you feel unsuccessful, and it's totally normal, that exists to you, but it exists to you too.
Hey.
Like what I've learned is if you feel unsuccessful or you feel like you want more success, you need to set realistic goals for yourself. And realistic doesn't mean small. Realistic means you can put it in the real world, and it's quantifiable.
Right.
So you don't say, I want to be a musician that's successful and tours all over. You say, I want to be a musician that tours from Tampa, Florida to Altoona, Pennsylvania, and then goes over to Tupelo, and I want to have a multi-regional tour. And
Right.
that's successful. So you set that for yourself if you're a musician.
And even if it ends up being just
you know,
Virginia to Alabama.
Yeah, or like whatever.
Find
it
success
is,
in that. Yeah.
Is it if you're feeling unsuccessful and be like, man, I want to get more successful, or whatever it is. Say like, man, I want to contract 4 jobs a week, not 3, or I want to, I want to go work for this company instead of this company, or whatever it is. Like, set a realistic goal, because that's what success is. It's not getting stuff. It's thinking of something and doing it. And so I was reminded of that. And then also, like, don't judge success by what other people think it is. And I think too, like, don't judge success by what you think success is. Judge your success by setting a goal.
Well, if you
and
think
doing
what
it.
success is, maybe you can judge it by what you think.
Well, no,
That's you thinking.
Well, what I mean is that a lot of times you get bombarded and you get pressure.
Yeah.
And then you get pressured into thinking success is this thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's like, don't do that. Set some goals for yourself and just try it.
You definitely don't let society tell you what to put as like your state of success, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't let them come in and, like we were talking about earlier, where they're like, you have to have X, Y, and Z to feel successful. It's okay to have your own version, and whatever that may mean to you.
You do have to have X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But only you define what X, Y, and Z is.
Yeah, you get to define it yourself. And I think that's important for everybody to remember and to make the little steps of success and celebrate them, Because, like, it's not just about the end.
Yeah.
It's the middle.
You're not going to get to celebrate the end because you'll be dead.
I mean, even if you
die.
if you just not, if you feel like you just now started, like that's a success in itself. Just starting. Just starting with it. Small baby steps, small little...
What was that
small
movie?
little
Baby Steps?
Small little-
What about Bob? Remember that movie?
Yeah. Just take a small little baby steps. But anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, be sure to subscribe and click the little bell notification so that way you guys know when we're doing this thing. We were actually discussing before when we started that like it's like a weird thing. Like when we schedule the thing, we're not sure if people see it when it's scheduled, but we share it on our social stuff. I don't know. This is where my old people stuff shines through because I don't understand any of it.
Just come along and talk to us.
Come
We'll
on.
figure it out.
Yeah, we'll be here every Thursday. Come on and talk to us. Get in on the conversations.
And let us know in the comments if you're watching this later. Let us know what topics you want to talk about because we started this because we needed arbitrary things to talk about to stay awake in the van because you're so tired after a show. And like you've been on the road for 4 days already. You're not going home for another 3 days. And you just got to get to the truck stop.
Right.
So it's like, pick something and talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's stimulating. It's a lot of fun. So we're glad we get to do that with you. But like, that's what it's for. So like, let us know what y'all want to talk about. And that's what we'll all talk about.
That's what we'll talk about.
You know?
It'll be fun. All right. But until
Get in
then,
the van.
get in the van. Until then, later, guys. Woo!